Well, Michael, first of all, I'll ask, how pleasing was it for you to not only rally back and score 5 goals on the weekends, but do it with 5 different goal scorers as well?
Yeah, I think yeah, to have 5 different goal scorers is always very nice, especially lately. Majority of our goals have been scored by Holly, so it's nice for other players to chip in and build their confidence and build the confidence within the team that we have a number of different girls that can score, which yeah, was very pleasing.
Knowing how in depth you go in your reviews and the like, I guess, what did you like about everything after the Raw scoring their second goal, and what didn't you like between the Raw as the Raw scored 2 goals?
Look, I think we actually started the game quite well, but obviously there was a couple of mistakes which led to their 2 goals. I think one of the biggest things that I really liked was after our second goal that Stoddy brought all the players in together to have a bit of a chat, which I think helped calm everybody and go, okay, it's still early, we've got plenty of time, and we weren't playing poorly. It was just a couple of mistakes that led to their 2 goals, which they punished us really well. And then after that, we obviously kept playing our football and built confidence from within that. So, yeah, very, very pleased. I think it was nice that we ended up scoring that set-piece goal that Stoddy scored, which lifted everybody. And from there, we obviously were just unstoppable, really. It was probably our best performance. After the 20th minute mark, that next 70 minutes were outstanding. So hopefully that continues.
On the multiple goal scorers, as you mentioned there, Holly has been scoring a lot of them for you as of late. But I guess, how important is that to be starting to get others contributing, knowing that whilst the group stages, the league will be suspended, you're probably going to be missing Holly for during the knockout stages of the Women's Asian Cup?
Yeah, look, she's a very important player for us. So when she's not going to be there for a game or two, it's difficult. But we have a big squad. We have a lot of good players, and we've played without her in the past. So we're still confident in that stage when that happens in a month or so. But I think what's really exciting for me when I'm reviewing that match is that we have so many more levels to get to as a group, as a team, that we've shown signs of it through the course of the season, but never in a full 90 minutes yet. And like the weekend, we obviously didn't. There was some moments in the beginning of the match that we were a bit shaky, but I think if we can put those connections together and keep building the individual performances and the confidence in front of goal especially, then I think we have the levels that we know we can get to, which is very exciting if we can get there.
Yeah, so obviously another big derby. I think we spoke last time about sort of the energy that brings. But yeah, you mentioned last time that a lot of the girls, it was their first sort of big derby. So do you think that now the whole squad having that experience helps the group now better balance the occasion with the expectations and what we want to actually see on the pitch?
I think so. It's always a big game when we play Victory. It obviously gets hyped up in the media as well. So there's a nice buzz. There's a good rivalry. And obviously, I've only been involved in it my second year, but, it doesn't really matter. The form in these type of games, any derby around the world, really, form doesn't matter. You come into the game and it's going to be a fiery match. Both teams have a lot of quality on the pitch, so it's going to be a really exciting game.
And you're currently sitting on the top of the ladder. So what do you as a coach sort of do to make sure that there's no kind of sense of complacency and that those standards remain really high?
Yeah, look, I think a few weeks ago, that question was maybe a little bit more trickier to answer because we were top with a couple of games in hand. Since then, we've dropped some matches and technically we're top, but Wellington still have a game in hand, so they could jump us if they win their catch-up game. So we're definitely not taking anything for granted. And like I've always said, it's about what's next. It's always a focusing on what we can control. we can't control what's going to happen in 6-7 weeks' time at the end of the season. We can only control what's happening today in our training session, how we're preparing ourselves best for the strengths and the areas we think we can exploit victory, and then obviously prepare for the game and take each moment as it comes.
Yeah, and just speaking of the ladder, it is always very close, but Victoria is currently sitting sixth, and so I guess they're coming into this really trying to hold onto that top six position, as you're trying to hold onto your first position. But do you think that that makes them sort of a bit more dangerous, that they're bringing that kind of sense of urgency?
No, I don't think so. I think the last 4 weeks I've seen a change in the way they're playing with the ball and without the ball. So, we've analysed that and we'll be prepared for if they throw that at us. But I think, as I mentioned, derbies, it gets thrown out the window form and where people are on the ladder. All we can control is what we know best and how we exploit whatever the team gives us. So if they want to press us person on person, we have to be prepared for that. If they want to sit off and swing press or go in more of a block like they have in the past, then we need to be prepared for that. So they got a lot of quality all over the park. I think having Policena back has definitely helped them the last couple of weeks. She's a top player, as we know here at City. So it's going to be a top match.
Michael, obviously, huge addition in the form of Leah Davidson, names back in the squad. I guess, firstly, can she start, or how many minutes does she have in her if she can't?
She'll be a second half sub. So she's not quite ready to start. This is her second week virtually of full team training. And her rehab has gone very smoothly, hence why she's back so quick. But she's ready to play her part off the bench.
So half an hour, 20 minutes, 45 minutes? When can you inject her?
I would say probably around the 10, 15 minutes after halftime is probably her range. Anywhere between 35, 40 minutes, probably max, is with the added time that always gets played 5-6 minutes after the 90. So, I would say around that 35-minute sweet spot.
Awesome. Because just how important is it getting players like Leah back, and I know Laura's working back as well, knowing that I think a couple of weeks ago you told me that some of the problems you've identified will just be fixed when you get players back. What does she bring to this squad? Yeah,
look, players like Leah and Husey especially, just their defensive attributes, I think, and their understanding of cover is at a very, very good level. So, and players like Shelby are learning and getting really good at that. And then someone like Letitia, who's normally a higher number 10, she's had to learn all those attributes, which she's definitely getting better at that as well. So it's definitely complementing her game. And now if when those players come back, if Letitia's going higher up the pitch, then obviously she's going to benefit from the time that she's played that little bit deeper, and the different roles and covering and tracking players and defensive principles are different than advanced positions. So, Leah and Husey have that in abundance. Shelby's been learning those over the last probably 18 months and getting at a very good level now. And obviously Letitia, the last 4 or 5 weeks, has definitely added those levels into it, or those concepts into her game as well.
No, unfortunately, you've lost Ellie for an extended period. But on Husey, how far away is she? How's she tracking with her rehab?
Yeah, first with Ellie, it's obviously disappointed. She's had a very interrupted since she's come into sign for our team in the preseason. She's an unbelievable character around the group and a good personality, a great professional, and she's was finding her feet and starting to build minutes. But unfortunately, had surgery yesterday. Just speaking to her and the medical staff this morning, everything went well. So hopefully, around that 7-8 weeks, she can be back. Husey's progressing well. She's starting to do a lot more loading on her knee and running. So I would say after the international break, she should be ready to join full team training and ready to play minutes when we play. I think it's Canberra a week or so after the international break.
But just doing the math, so definitely getting Ali back before finals, I think.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
speaking to her, she'd like to push even earlier, but yeah, she'll be ready come the back end of the season.
And any other fitness or injury concerns coming into this one?
No, at this stage, Stoddy had a little bit of a operation on her thumb, which is earlier in the week, but I think she's probably 50-50, so I'll give you that.
Are you allowed to? How did she hurt her thumb?
Well, it was a couple of weeks ago against Adelaide, and she needed to get this little minor operation. But so we prolonged it a week, and she had it on Monday. So we're hoping she can get up for the match. But yeah, let's see how she progresses today and tomorrow.